Hi, everybody, and greetings on this Monday, this 5th day of October, which it won't, but should go down in some sort of record books. A beautiful, beautiful day to start off the work week. In fact, on that note, I have a beautiful forecast that takes us, as our luck would seem to have it, all the way through most of your work week, and just in time for the weekend, we'll take a plunge, and we'll see temperatures and showers and maybe some storms roll back through the viewing area. So we'll just enjoy what we have for the rest of this week. Most of it, at least. Your updated forecast coming in just a few moments. We'll talk about test scores tonight. We'll do some comparisons around a few counties, including McGoffin and Johnson. We'll speak with McGoffin County School Superintendent Stanley Holbrook about the performance of some McGoffin County schools. All that's coming up, and that will be one of our first reports in just a few moments. Also, an arrest over the course of the weekend. Took 2 tries for a sheriff's deputy to nab his suspect on this particular occasion, but it's a second arrest with possibly more pending as it pertains to a burglary in the Royalton area, that of a business several days ago. That and some other news from the Mountain Parkway and elsewhere on this, once again, beautiful, beautiful Monday. We're going to do everything a little out of sorts this evening, as it is Monday around here. I've got community calendar announcements actually first, but first, even though it is a calendar announcement, it's also a story that we'll learn more about tomorrow and then thereafter. But your McGoffin County Health Department has set forth a health fair for this Wednesday, 1 till 4 o'clock, and just among a few things that they're going to be having, services including blood pressure checks and diabetes risk tests and screenings, diabetes management, community health resource referrals, insurance assistance, door prizes, free snacks, and much, much more. And we'll have Health Department Director Pete Shepard slash Mayor Sagersville, of course, as well, in with us tomorrow to tell us more about the other services that they'll have. But wanted to at least make mention of it tonight, the health fair at the Health Department this Wednesday, 1 till 4. I'm going to read your calendar announcements for the most part tonight before I go to a couple of special wishes. The Sagersville Grade School has a book fair starting tomorrow, and it goes through next Monday. Of course, it was fall break today, so they're starting tomorrow. Everyone is invited. And these are a little later on down the line. I've got one, I guess I can read it. It's for Friday. The Kearney Free Will Baptist Youth Group is having a soup bean dinner this Friday. They're delivering to the Sagersville businesses. The meal will consist of soup beans, fried potatoes, cornbread, onions, and sauerkraut, all for just $5.50. You can even call to place an order, and we'll get that number to you from here on out. I can't tell you right now. It's 349-6249. I'll put it up on the screen the rest of the week, but Kearney Free Will Baptist Youth Group putting together a great soup bean dinner for this Friday, and the good or bad, however you want to look at it, the weather forecast might make it a good day for a nice warm soup bean dinner. We've got some revivals and other things of that nature that I can hold off for a couple of days, as they're not until later on the weekend or early next week. So we'll do just that. We'll wrap up calendar announcements this evening with a couple of birthdays, one that indeed, you're right, Sheena and Robert May, I certainly missed.
Yep, this was a birthday wish for Betty Rose, and it was for Thursday's show. So, with my apologies, a now belated birthday wish, but nevertheless, with a whole lot of love from all of your children, Betty Rose. Happy, happy birthday to you. And this young man's mother sent me a message today to say, 10 years ago, God blessed me with a beautiful baby boy who's not quite so little anymore, and now he's 10. And happy birthday wishes go out to you tonight, Nathan Cole, from a whole lot of family and friends. Happy 10th to you. Happy birthday, Nathan Cole. That and Nathan brings me to a commercial break. Headlines will begin right after this. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband.
It's time to talk about test scores. They were released just days ago, and I have some time tonight to go into them in a little more depth than I did on Thursday's program, I believe it was. In McGoffin County, out of all elementary schools and the middle and high school, there were 3 schools which saw their overall scores improve, those being the McGoffin County High School, Harold Whitaker Middle School, and the Sagersville Grade School. Last year, they were in the 19th, 29th, and 10th percentile respectively. Now, out of those three, which all made improvements, the Harold Whitaker Middle School really saw very little change, less than 0.5%, and is still in the 30th percentile. But there is some good news, and there were some big gains to be made.
We'll start by looking around the neighborhood, so to speak, and begin with the Johnson County school system. And the white lettering indicates this year's scores, the 14-15 school year, the testing that was done last year by last year's students in those respective classes. So taking a look at in Johnson Central Elementary, beginning with the elementary schools, they had a 66.9 overall score. Now, that did come down some from the year prior when they had a 72.1. That means they had a 68th percentile overall percentile ranking this past year. Now, that did fall from an 87% ranking the year before. That means that they are also considered to be a needs improvement school. In the Flat Gap Elementary, they had a 71.7 in the 86th percentile, very close to the year prior at 72 and an 87%. That ranks them as a proficient elementary school in the state of Kentucky. For Highland Elementary, they had a 69 overall score, which puts them in the 78th percentile among all Kentucky elementary schools. And that is a decrease of almost 5 points a little more than 5 points actually, from the year prior when they had a 74.7 that put them in the 92nd percentile. Now, last year's test, and that 69 puts them too as a proficient school ranking. Looking at Meade Elementary, they were close to where they were the year before. They had a 74.5 this past year, putting them in the 92nd percentile among all Kentucky elementary schools. That was down from a 77.9 the year prior and a 98%. Porter Elementary, 73 overall score, and puts them in the 90th percentile, and that is down from an 81.1 in the 99th percentile ranking last year, or the year prior. I do need to make mention that Meade Elementary, Porter, and W.R. Castle are all considered distinguished schools, even though all fell a few points, and that is a pretty common trend from year to year. Once the schools achieve such a high ranking, it's hard to hang on there, but they're all considered distinguished and all very well above the majority, as you can see, of other elementary schools across the state, all in the 98th, 99th percentile. W.R. Castle an 80.4 versus an 82.2 the year before. As for the Johnson Central Middle School, they too fell a rung, about exactly a percentage point, 67.4, putting them in the 78th percentile versus 68.4 the year prior and an 82nd percentile rating. And Johnson Central High School, nearly the same, a half a percentage point was all, a 73.2 this year, putting them square in the 82nd percentile. They had a 74.7 and the 88th percentile ranking just the year before. In the Paintsville School District, Paintsville Elementary improved 69.7 from a 68, putting them in the 80th percentile from the 73rd. They are considered a proficient/progressing elementary school. Paintsville Middle also improved 71.4 over a 66.7 the year before. Another big jump, 92nd percentile from the 74th. And Paintsville High School also in the 90th percentile at 91%. However, they did decrease. They fell to a 75.9 from an 81.4, but still considered a distinguished school. To compare some area districts as a whole, the overall score for the Magoffin County School District was a 64.6. Now, that brought them up from a 30th percentile ranking the year before to a 58th percentile this year. And I want to say this year, test release, of course, for students' performances last year taking the test. Nevertheless, for the Johnson County school system, they did fall back just a little bit to 71.1, still in the 91st percentile. That is from a 73.7 and 98th percentile ranking the year before. And Paintsville Independent Schools as a whole district went to a 71.9 from a 72.2, but still maintaining a 95th percentile ranking. And Morgan County making some big strides, going up to a 70.2 overall score, puts them in the 89th percentile, and that's from a 65.1 and 61% percentile ranking the year prior. So if you add up all those and the rest of the school districts across Kentucky, the statewide average and overall score was a 68 and 81st percentile ranking, with a 67.6 and a 79% the year before, which is very, very close. As for McGoffin County's elementary schools, North McGoffin Elementary went to a 71.6 from a 76.2. They are now in the 85th percentile from a 95th the year before. South McGoffin Elementary also losing a couple of points, 65.5 from a 69.6, putting them at the 62nd percentile mark, and that is versus an 80 percentile mark the year prior. And as for the Sagersville Grade School, which was in the 10th percentile ranking last year with a 50.7, they picked up 47%, a 14.3 overall percentage point increase. 64.3 brings them from very low down near the bottom of the rankings to a 57th percentile across the state. As for all of those performances, have North McGoffin as a proficient school, South McGoffin as a needs improvement, and then Sagersville Grade School as a needs improvement but progressing school system. Also a high progress school now for the Sagersville Grade School after making that jump from 10 to 57%. The Harold Whitaker Middle School test score stayed about the same, a 56.8 this year versus a 56.4 the year before, still in the 30th percentile. McGoffin County High School did increase 6 points and went from a 19th percentile ranking up to a 47th percent. And with all of that in mind, I sat down earlier today with Superintendent of Schools Stanley Holbrook of McGoffin County to talk about the good and the bad.
But you never find no school district isn't always trying to improve. You know, I came here in 2013, the test scores were in the bottom 10% in the state. We went from 10 percentile, 32 percentile, for my first full year here, went to 32, and my next year was 58 percentile, which is where we're at now. And we'll go up again next year. The last two school districts with the two tests that was given since I've been here, we were the top 10 most improved school districts 2 years in a row. So took all 173 school districts, picked the top 10 most improved. We made that reward 2 years in a row.
Yeah. But part of that is due to the fact that we had a long way to
We had a long ways to come when I started.
Yeah.
That's correct. Now it's really starting to get tight. Of course, everybody, I like to compare us with the bordering counties, 6 counties that border us. 1 county is behind us. Us and 2 more jump together. There's 0.9 of a point between us 3, and there's 3 ahead of us. So I want to pass up a couple of those and get to those that's in the head. That's my goal. And it just takes a lot of work and a lot of studying. All the schools are doing data analysis now, and they're all trying to figure out why they got where they were at and how to make improvements next school year.
What did you all work on last year that appeared to be effective this year?
We made our biggest jump at the Sagersville Grade School, and that's the one we geared on. They was lagging behind, so we spent a lot of time with Sagersville Grade School. And you got North and South, they was really high already, and so they kind of hung on. Some of them, I think they actually went down just a little bit, but that's still not hurting us because they're still proficient. One of them still a proficient school district, and the other one's knocking on the door being proficient. So we see where we need to make our gains, and that's what we'll work on the rest of the school year, as well as still dealing with sports and still trying to provide the best education we can for our kids while trying to improve our test scores also. I'd like for the public to understand that you can be behind somebody 10 schools, but that's only half a point. So when we came up 4 points, that's a big jump, 4 points. When you go 4 points, you pass up 15, 20 schools. So it's hard to come up. I mean, from the top school at 80 to the 80-something, 81 or 82, to the bottom school, which is in the high 40s, that's not much leeway there. So when we come up, so does a lot of other schools. So it's kind of like the hogs feeding the trough. Y'all get in there and eat and hope you get the most.
It's also interesting to note that while Stanley Holbrook, of course, and the rest of the school system, he says, has been working very hard to try to improve schools, that 2 of the lowest ranking school districts in the entire state of Kentucky are now leaning on McGoffin Countyans to try to improve their test scores. The test scores just released have Robertson County, I think it is the very last, have 173 school districts. Breathitt County is around 5 or 6 from the bottom, both of which have now hired since appointments McGoffin County natives and former members of the McGoffin County school system as superintendents of their school districts. So they will be working to see those test scores in those respective counties improve for the next round of testing. Those results, of course, to be released a year from now. I've got some more headlines. They'll be forthcoming right after a few messages. Be sure and let these folks know you're watching when you can.
A second arrest has taken place pertaining to the burglary of the Royalton Food Mart about 2 weeks ago. A man was apprehended at a relative's home, I am told, by authorities after the second try late Saturday night, technically early Sunday morning.
After a days-long investigation and several eyewitness accounts and a collection of a whole lot of evidence pertaining to the theft, McGoffin County Sheriff's Deputy Neil Adams arrested first Denver Swafford Jr., who was lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center on charges of burglary in the first degree as well as criminal mischief in the first degree. Adams, per his investigation, believes that Swafford was one of at least two men involved and one of the at least one, if not more, individuals who remained outside and acted to commit the burglary on that basis after working in complicity with another individual who Adams believes was the one seen on security footage inside the store. That being Ricky Neal Fletcher, who has since been arrested on the same charges, burglary and criminal mischief in the first degree, both charges. He was taken into custody, says Adams, at a relative's residence. I believe it was early Sunday morning. Adams also believes that on a first attempt to go to the residence, he believes that, according to his investigation, Fletcher ran out the back door, but Adams then returned soon thereafter and found Fletcher inside. He was taken into custody and has since been lodged and still is in the Big Sandy jail. Altogether, store owners say that the two men are responsible for the theft of about $3,000 to $4,000 worth of merchandise, cigarettes, lottery tickets, quantity of change that was in a bucket, a firearm that was recovered, and a whole lot of other items that were taken from the store, a quantity of some of all of which has been discovered and has been logged as evidence in the case. With Deputy Adams asking me to stress that this is an ongoing investigation and that there exists the possibility of at least that other individuals may be involved. And if you have any information about the case and the potential of any other suspects or any other items that were stolen, to please call the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department at 349-2914.
It is certainly something I don't make a practice of and something that you don't want to do in this profession. However, it was something that was just simply unavoidable earlier today. Governor Steve Beshear and Hal Rogers were both in Sayersville earlier today, and I was not. Yes, simply unavoidable. They were there dropping in as well as some other folks to check on the Mountain Parkway progress, which of course is still ongoing. And even though there are several projects and a few miles under construction now, before you know it, there will be more than 16 miles under construction. And of course, it's all part of a more than $750 million project.
However, they were nice enough to send me the following information, saying that 1/3 of the Mountain Parkway expansion will be started or shovel-ready by next year. This all less than a year after the governor unveiled the first Mountain Parkway expansion sign in front of the health department to mark the beginning of road construction. More than 1/3 of the project is under construction or nearing shovel-ready status. Beshear visited the first site of construction to see the progress that is transforming the parkway into a modern transportation corridor. He was accompanied by Congressman Hal Rogers and others, with the governor saying, quote, "The General Assembly and I made a commitment to the people of Eastern Kentucky to finish this long overdue project, and with continued funding, we'll meet our goal to have the entire parkway completed or under construction by the year 2020. With Congressman Rogers chiming in, saying that working in concert with SOAR, we're closing gaps in economic opportunities across our region, and he's pleased, he says, to see the expansion of the Mountain Parkway speeding ahead. Progress reports from the Mountain Parkway Expansion Project Office itself says that by next year, about 16 miles of road will be under construction or shovel-ready to allow for construction and property acquisition when funding is made available. The plan includes starting work next year in the Restaurant Row area of Sayersville, which is, of course, the busiest and most congested portion of the parkway. Construction work on that crucial segment of the project, of course, was sped by that $24 million federal Tiger grant. They also tell me that work could begin next summer to widen and improve about 8 miles of roadway that spans Wolf, Morgan, and McGoffin counties. That also if the legislature provides funding in the next biennial budget, though. As additional funds are made available, the remaining Mountain Parkway expansion projects, they say, are in a position to start property acquisition and construction. That's slated to be between the years of 2017 and 2020. And now to put the lid on tonight's program, we'll do so with your Licking Valley RECC forecast. I mean, gorgeous. Gorgeous. I fought and struggled to be outside all day for any reason I could and just couldn't make it happen, certainly as much as what I would have liked to have. Hope you could enjoy your evening. You'll do so under a 54 nighttime low. We're going to be a ways from getting there. We're still at 76 here at the studio at the 6 it's nearly 6:30 time frame. Mostly clear skies. You can expect a light northeast wind. Just a beautiful end to a beautiful, beautiful day. And it gets only nicer. Tomorrow, 77, sunny, mostly clear skies, calm winds, start to finish. A gorgeous day. We will have a similar pattern that sits with us all week long, right up until we get to at least close to your weekend. And I know that's often how it goes. At least it feels as though it's that way. Nevertheless, we have beautiful skies ahead tomorrow again. 76, mostly sunny, partly cloudy late, a low in the mid-50s. Another gorgeous day in the neighborhood. And ditto for your Thursday, 77, mostly sunny, a low of 61. You will notice, I'm sure, standing out very defiantly at the bottom of your screen, a 20% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Right now, that's midnight, I think, at least, maybe even later on Thursday night. So that's when our ruck does start to run out. We're talking about mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are going to fall down to around 70, and that slight chance late Thursday night is followed by a good chance of some showers and storms on your Friday. So there's a theme to the forecast. It is enjoy every moment you can through Thursday evening, because thereafter changes are in store. And for your weekend, we'll have 64 degrees. Yes, I'm sorry, 64 on your Saturday. We will see some sun return, but definitely cooler air. 20% chance of showers, maybe even up until about noon. Other than that, we'll see some sunshine, partly cloudy skies late. And then Sunday, mostly sunny and 68. And then we'll recover to some degree starting off next week with Columbus Day on Monday and lows in the low 70s. So a few bumps in the road indeed are going to be Friday and into your Saturday. Nevertheless, by and large, a nice forecast ahead.
And just as I am looking forward to that beautiful weather throughout the week, I'm looking forward to having you with us each and every weeknight at 6 and 11 for more news like tonight and like every night that you'll only see here with me on Your News Today. Good night. Enjoy your evening. Who knows how long they'll last. And we'll see you back here tomorrow.